Now, as mentioned, in today's class, we're going to talk about networking fundamentals. So, when you talk about networking fundamentals, there are three important definitions to go through. What is networking? What are networks? And what are hosts? So, when you talk about networking, this is the practice of connecting information devices with each other. So, no matter what devices it be, your computers, your laptops, your smartphones, your smartwatches, your Wi-Fi routers, the practice of connecting these information devices with each other to share information or resources is called as networking. Okay. And a collection of those devices together, a group of that devices, interconnected devices, is called as a network. And each device in that network is called as a host. So host refers to any individual device connected to that network that can transmit or receive data. Again, as mentioned, computers, printers, routers, mobile phones, smartwatches, cameras, IP cameras, whatnot, all of these fall under each individual host in a network. Now, just like how we humans have individual names to address each other, these devices also have names, and that name is called as an IP address, Internet Protocol address. Okay, so to define it, each host on the network has a unique identifier known as an IP address, which allows for communication to occur between these devices. Okay, and this IP address was initially, invented by the US military in the late 1950s or so. So there were multiple versions of it. There was IP version 1, IP version 2, IP version 3. They were not quite successful. What properly worked out was IP version 4, Internet Protocol version 4. And even in today's world, we are still using IPv4 addresses. Okay. So today we're going to talk about some important properties of IPv4 addresses and the categories of them. Okay. So firstly, when you talk about the properties, it's a 32-bit address, guys. Now, what I mean by 32-bit addresses, each bit is the smallest value that a computer can hold of information. It can either be the value of 0 or the value of 1. Okay, so this is what computers primarily communicate in, the language of zeros and ones, which is also commonly known as binary language. Okay. Since it only has two characters or two values, 0 or 1, hence it is called as binary. Okay, and your IPv4 address is a combination of 32 bits, which is 32 zeros and ones. And this entire 32-bit address is again divided in four equal parts of 8 bits each. Okay? And each of that 8-bit portion is called as an octet. Octa in the sense 8. Okay. So again, and each octet over here of 8 bits size is divided by a dot symbol. So this is typically what your IPv4 address would look like in the binary format. But we humans don't understand binary so well. What we regularly use are decimal numbers containing numbers or characters from 0 to 9. So now we're going to learn how do you convert any computer readable binary number to a human readable decimal number. So this number here, 11000000, is actually equal to 190. This number 10101000 is equal to 168. This number, all zeros, is equal to 0. And this number, 00001010, is equal to 10. So now we're going to learn how did this conversion happen. How do you convert any binary number to a human readable decimal number? Okay. So first things first, when you want to convert any binary number to a decimal number, there are two simple rules to follow. Rule number one is, again, once you have the binary number here, let's say we have the octet here, 10101010. And if we had to convert this number into a human readable number, rule number one is, oh, 1 second. Oh, I think Gurpreet has exited. Maybe some issue with the network also. But I hope Abdul Wahab and Vamsi can hear. Any issues with the audio or so, guys? Hello, Vamsi, Wahab, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Vamsi, I hope you can hear me as well.
Yes, sir.
Perfect, perfect. Right. Any questions or doubts up to this point, guys? Vamsi or Wahab?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
No,
assuming no. Perfect. Right. Okay. Moving forward. So if you want to convert any binary number to a human readable decimal number, there are two simple rules for it. Rule number one is once you have written down the binary number as such, you assign the power of two values, okay, from right to left, starting from 2 power 0 up to 2 power 7. So under the rightmost bit, you'll write down 2 power 0. Under the leftmost bit, you'll write down 2 power 7. Okay. So under each bit, you're putting a value of 2 to the power Okay. Why specifically 2 to the power? Because this is a binary number. You only have two possibilities. Okay. So the rightmost bit has 2 power 0, then you have 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 2 power 4, 2 power 5, 2 power 6, 2 power 7. So once you have placed those values at the bottom, you multiply the lower 2 power value with the top bit and keep on adding it till the end. So 2 power 0 into 0 plus 2 power 1 into 1 plus 2 power 2 into 0 plus 2 power 3 into 1 plus 2 power 4 into 0 plus 2 power 5 into 1 plus 2 power 6 into 0 plus 2 power 7 into 1. So once all these values are multiplied and calculated, you get the final decimal answer. So to calculate this, let me write down the values for these numbers first. Anything to the power 0 is always equal to 1. So 2 power 0 is 1. 2 power 1 is 2. 2 power 2 is 2 into 2. That's 4. 2 power 3 is 2 into 2 into 2. 3 times. That's 8. 2 power 4 is 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. 4 times. That's 16. 2 power 5 is 32. 2 power 6 is 64. And 2 power 7 is 128. So when you now calculate this, 2 power 0 into 0. So 2 power 0 is 1. 1 into 0, that becomes 0 itself. 2 power 1 into 1, 2 power 1 is 2. So 2 into 1, that's 2. 2 power 2 into 0, 0 again. 2 power 3 into 1, 8. 2 power 4 into 0, 0 again. 2 power 5 into 1, 32. 2 power 6 into 0, 0 again. And 2 power 7 into 1, 128. So if you add this up, 128 plus 32, that's 160. 160 plus 8, 168. 168 plus 2, 170. So when we humans read the number 170 as 170, the computer reads it as 10101010. Something like high frequency, low frequency, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. So when that sequence of frequencies or signals follow, the computer understands that number exactly as 170. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? Vamsi, Wahab, any questions? No.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. Now, moving forward, I hope no questions. I hope there's no questions. Now, there's a couple more examples, guys. If this is still not clear, again, let's try it for a few more numbers as well. So let's say there's 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 instead. Okay. When there's 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1, you follow the same logic. 2 power 0 into 1, that is 1. 2 power 1 into 0, that's 0. 2 power 2 into 1, that's 4. 2 power 3 into 0, 0. 2 power 4 into 1, 16. 2 power 5 into 0, 0. 2 power 6 into 1, 64. 2 power 7 into 0, 0. So if you add all this up again, 64 plus 16, that's 80. 80 plus 4, 84. 84 plus 1, 85. Okay. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1 in binary is equal to 85 in decimal. And if you have all ones now, you have to just add up all the numbers. 2 power 0 into 1, that's 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 plus 32 plus 64 plus 128. And if you add all this up, you get the number 255. So the reason I've been explaining you all this conversion, how to convert any binary number to a human readable decimal number, is so that we can get the range of IP addresses. So in order to get the first IP, all I have to simply do is put zeros everywhere. And when I put zeros, the first IP address in decimal would simply be 0.0.0.0. And if I had to get the last IP, I have to put all ones everywhere because that's the maximum value it can store. And when you put all ones, if we just calculated it for all ones, it's 255. So for the last IP, you would have 255.255.255.255. Here's the first IP address, and here's the last IP address. So this is the entire range of IP addresses in the computer networks. Okay, you can never have an IP address above the number 255 in any of these outlets. Whatever IP addresses range, they range from 0 to 255 itself, not more than that. Okay, and if someone had to ever calculate how many IPs are there in total, if you notice there are 32 bits here, and each bit has two possibilities. So the total number of IPs you would have is 2 to the power 30. 2 into 2 into 2 into 2, like that, up to 32 times, because each bit has two possibilities. And that would give you a number of 4.3 billion IP addresses. Okay. So back then, when these IPs were invented in 1950s or so, 4.3 billion IPs was a very good number because not many people owned computers. And there were no phones yet in 1950s or so. Okay. But fast forward to today, the population itself is 8 billion people, and each person has multiple devices again. So these 4.3 billion IPs would not have been sufficient. Okay, so they came up with two solutions: reusability of IPs and a much better version of IP addresses called IPv6. So when I talk about reusability, they divided these 4.3 billion IPs into various categories, something called public and private IPs and something called classes. Okay, we'll talk about all that in the next session. Okay, but today let's talk about the sequence of IPs. So we know there are 4.3 billion IPs. We know this is the first IP, and we know this is the last IP. But what about the IPs in between? What about the sequence of IPs in between? So to talk about that now, there are two simple rules again. So rule number one is you always start with the rightmost octet. So if I had to explain this, let me open up a notepad file. Yeah. So let's assume this is our first IP here, 0000. Okay. Now we know that's the first IP. So if you want to go to the next IP after 0000, rule number one, you always start incrementing from the rightmost octet. Incrementing in the sense increasing by the value of 1. Okay. So if 0000 is the first IP, next IP would be 0001. Next IP 0002. Next IP 0003. So you're increasing the rightmost value with 1. Okay. Then 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09 goes all the way up to 255. Okay. Now once it reaches 255, can it have a value like 00026? Is this possible? Can we have 256 in IP addresses? Any answers, guys? Wahab, Wamsi. Hi, Gurpreet. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, Gurpreet, I can hear you. I think there was some network or audio issue earlier with your device. You couldn't hear me earlier, I suppose.
Yeah,
But
I just joined like probably like 2 minutes ago because I was having trouble joining in.
right, no worries. We were talking about IP addresses and again from the basics. So I'll be sharing this recording. So if you have missed out something, you can go through the recording as well. Sure.
Okay, and then you said that the 0000255. You said if you could increase it to 1000256,
Mhm.
and I believe no, because you said it only goes up to 255, right?
Yes, the maximum value you can have is up to 255 itself. It cannot progress after that, if you remember, right? So again, once it reaches 255, then comes rule number two. Okay. So once the rightmost octet reaches the maximum value, then you move to the left octet. Okay. So what I mean by that is this 255 now cycles back to zero. Okay. And so the leftmost octet, rightmost octet resets back to zero. And the left octet now increases by one. So this zero now changes to one. Okay. Now after 1, 0, again, remember rule number one, guys. You have to increase the rightmost octet again. Okay. So don't directly jump after 1, 0 to 0, 0, 2, 0. That would be wrong. Remember rule number one, always increment from the rightmost octet. So after 1, 0, you have 1, 1, then 1, 2, then 1, 3, then 1, 4, then 1, 5, which goes up to 1, 2, 5, 5. Once it reaches maximum value 255, again, it goes back to 0. And this one increases to 2. So you have 2, 0 here. Okay. So if you see there's a pattern forming 0, 0 to 0, 2, 5, 5, 1, 0, so 0, 0 to 0, 2, 5, 5, 1, 0 to 1, 2, 5, 5, then 2, 0 goes up to 2, 2, 5, 5, 3, 0 to 3, 2, 5, 5, 4, 0 to 4, 2, 5, 5, 5, 0 to 5, 2, 5, 5. Like that, the cycle keeps repeating, and somewhere down the line, you would have 255, 0 to 255, 255. Okay, 255, 255. Now, once both these octets are filled, this 0 now changes to 1, and these 255s cycle back to zeros again. So again, you have the first number again, 0, 0. Okay. So now, once it's 0, 0 again, you have after 0, 0, it goes up to 0, 2, 5, 5 again. So only the 0 changes to 1. Okay. So then this 0, 0 goes to 0, 2, 5, 5. Then 1, 0 goes to 1, 2, 5, 5. 2, 0 goes to 2, 2, 5, 5. Like that, the cycle keeps on repeating, and somewhere you'll have 2, 5, 5, 0 to 2, 5, 5, 2, 5, 5. Then this 1 changes to 2. Okay, so if you see there's again a pattern, 0, 0, 0 to 0, 2, 5, 5, 2, 5, 5, 1, 0, 0 to 1, 2, 5, 5, 2, 5, 5, 2, 0, 0 to 2, 2, 5, 5, 2, 5, 5, 3, 0, 0 to 3, 2, 5, 5, 2, 5, 5, 4, 0, 0 to 4, 2, 5, 5, 2, 5, 5, 5, 0, 0 to 5, 2, 5, 5, 2, 5, 5. Like that, the cycle keeps on repeating, And somewhere down the line, you would have 25500 to 255, 255, 255. Now, once all these three octets are filled, the 0 now changes to 1. Now, whatever cycle repeated all the way from 0000 to 0255, 255, 255, same cycle repeats again from 1000 to 1255, 255, 255. Then again from 2000 to 2255, 255, 255. 3000 to 3255, 255, 255. 4000 to 4255, 255, 255. And finally, down the line, 255000 to 255, 255, 255, 255. Now, if you start counting from the first IP till the last IP, you would have a total of 4.3 billion IP addresses. So these are the entire range of those 4.3 billion IPs. Okay. Is that clear, guys? Any questions? Anyone who didn't understand this? I can repeat it as many times as you want if this is unclear. So I totally understand that this is something of a new concept to you guys. So Wahab, Gurpreet, Vamsi, any questions? Does anyone want me to repeat it one more time?
No, I got the picture of it. I understand.
Perfect. Wahab? Okay.
No questions.
Perfect. Right. Now, as mentioned, guys, these are the entire 4.3 billion IP addresses range. Okay. But as mentioned earlier, in today's world, 4.3 billion IPs would have been nowhere sufficient. So these 4.3 billion IPs again are categorized. So there are different categories of IP addresses. Okay. So there's something called as classes, class A, B, C, D, and E. And there's something called as public and private IPs. So class A has public and private IPs in it. Class B has public and private IPs in it. Class C also has public and private IPs in it. Class D and Class E only have public IPs. There are no private IPs in them. Okay. So we're going to talk about what these public IPs are, what these private IPs are, what these classes are in the upcoming session, in tomorrow's session. Okay. Now, as mentioned already, guys, so this batch already started last week. So we are done with like 3 or 4 classes already. And that is running at 8 a.m. in the morning. Okay. So which is, again, in your time zone, it might be a different time. We started the session today at my 6 a.m. Okay. So again, in 1.5 hours, we're going to have one more class on the running batch, which is basically right now at Linux commands, Linux architecture. So for this entire course, guys, we'll be working on an operating system called the Kali Linux operating system. So if I go to my browser, just a second. Yeah. So if I go to my browser and if I search for Kali Linux, this is the operating system that we're going to be running in our upcoming classes a lot. Okay. So I've shown the students how to install this Kali Linux in the earlier class. Okay. But again, which was, I suppose, day before yesterday or again last week, can't remember correctly. Okay. But I'm going to share the recording for that now, guys. Okay. So if time permits, just go through the recording now. Okay. Again, in your free time, whenever possible. And at 8 o'clock, we're going to learn how to run Kali Linux. Okay. What is Kali Linux in detail and what are the commands used in any Linux operating system is what we're going to discuss. So basically, we will be installing Kali in a virtualization software. So we have a tool called VMware. This is a virtualization software. It basically allows you to run multiple operating systems on one singular device. So this is my Windows 11 operating system here. Inside this Windows 11, there's VMware Workstation here. So it's a very simple procedure, guys, to install VMware. I can show it right now as well. Okay. And inside this VMware, we install this Kali Linux operating system. So when I power it on, this is what Kali Linux would look like. So again, since we have some time, I'm going to show you how I installed Kali Linux in the last class. Okay. So again, let me boot it up for you for a minute and then show you how to install it as well. And along with that, I'm also going to share the detailed recording of step-by-step procedure on installing Kali, which I took in the last session. Okay. So again, guys, for a few days, you would have to bear with me. For 2-3 days, we'll be having 2 sessions in a day, one at 6 a.m. covering the earlier sessions and one at 8 a.m., which is from the ongoing existing batch. Okay. So again, in 2 more days, I'll be completing the networking fundamentals, and then you can just directly join at 8 a.m. instead. Okay. So this is what my Kali Linux system looks like, guys. So again, very important operating system for cybersecurity because this comes pre-installed with all the tools required for cybersecurity. Okay. So we're going to learn now how to install this. Okay. So this is what Kali operating system looks like, and we're going to work on this at 8 a.m. session today. Okay. So first things first, let me show you how to quickly install the Kali Linux operating system today. So I'm going to rush a bit, guys, because again, I've already explained this in the earlier sessions, but again, you will understand this. I'm going to explain this in detail now. So first things first, I'm going to uninstall my VMware because I need to install it and show you. So I'm going to quickly uninstall VMware from my system. And I'm going to show you how to install it now in a minute. Almost done. So this VMware application, guys, is actually a paid application. It's around $200 or so. But again, don't worry, you don't have to make any payment as such. I'll be sharing this application for free with you. I have the cracked application of it, and I'm using the same cracked application. You don't have to make any such payment of $200 or so. It's a yearly subscription. You have to keep paying $200 every year. But again, as mentioned, I have the cracked version of it available on my Google Drive, and I'll be sharing this link with you at the end of our session today. So I'm going to share this Google Drive link. So I have the tool already uploaded on my Google Drive here. Yeah, over here. As you can see, this is the link that I'll be sharing with you. Okay. And when you click on this link here, you should see two folders. One folder called setup and one folder called keys for license keys. Open up the setup folder. In that, you would have a file called vmware.exe. Now, this is the setup exe file, which is around 621 MB. So you have to right click on that file and click on download. Okay. And when you download and when you have the file locally on your device available, you would run the exe file to perform the installation. So I have the file already downloaded on my system here. This is the application, same size, 621 megabytes if you notice. So once it's successfully downloaded locally on your machine, you would run this as administrator. Right click, run as admin. And this would install the virtualization software. Now, this virtualization software allows us to install multiple other operating systems on one singular device. So rather than you having to purchase a separate physical machine, on one device itself, you can run multiple operating systems. You can run your Windows along with your Linux operating system. Okay. So if you're not familiar with Linux, no worries, guys. I'm going to explain that in the session today at 8 o'clock Indian Standard Time, 8 a.m. in a couple of hours. Okay. So this is a setup wizard, guys, for VMware. Very simple steps, just default steps itself. So you have to click on next, 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 and install. So click on next. Oh, I think this is already, it hasn't uninstalled yet. 1 second, guys. Just 1 minute. Should have uninstalled by now. I thought I uninstalled this. Yeah. Yep, done now. So now it's successfully uninstalled, as you would notice. So you don't have to do that because again, I had to show you the installation, hence I had to uninstall it. Okay. But when you run this for the first time, this is the setup wizard that you would get. So let me open it up again. run it as admin. This will start the setup wizard for us. And when the wizard is ready, let's wait for a while. Yeah, this is the wizard. So click on next. Click on I accept the terms in the license agreement. Click on next again. Nothing to change here. Default steps, install it on your C drive, program files, VMware workstation. You don't need this enhanced keyboard driver. That's not required. So click on next again. And uncheck both these boxes. You don't want to check for product updates and you don't want to join their customer experience program. This is a cracked application. So if you update it, it might go corrupt. So don't select these options. Just uncheck both of these and then click on next. Create a desktop shortcut. Next. And click on install. That's it. As simple as that. And this is going to now install the VMware workstation for us. In that VMware workstation, now we're going to install the Kali Linux operating system. Good thing for us, Kali Linux is completely open source and you don't have to make any payment for it. It's available for free for anyone to download. So once VMware is installed, we're going to install Kali inside it. So let's wait for a minute. We have VMware installed here. If you notice on my desktop, the shortcut has been created already. Yeah. And once it's installed, you would notice it's asking you for a license key here. So just click on license and go back to your Google Drive. And if you remember, there was a folder called keys. Go to that keys folder. Open up this folder again. You would have a file here called keys.txt and copy any random license key from here, any one of them. Okay, don't go for the first one. I've used the first one a lot of times, so it might have been expired by now. But go for the second one or the third one, or any other key. And when you click on enter, that successfully installs VMware for you. And once VMware is installed, in that you would have to install Kali. So when I open up my VMware, since I already have a couple operating systems installed in my VMware already, so those would get imported back again. But basically, you would not have any of these on your system. You would only have my computer and shared VMs also. So what we have to do is now we have to install Kali in this. So to download Kali, I'll go back to the official website of Kali, kali.org. And here there's an option called download on the home page itself. So when I click on download, I have two images or two options here, installer image and virtual machine images. So installer image is when you want to remove your Windows and install Kali on the base machine, you go for installer image. We don't want to do that. We want to install Kali as a virtual machine in my VMware. So we're going to go for virtual machines. Virtual machines are operating systems installed inside a virtualization software. And once you click on VM virtual machines, you get multiple options here. These are all the different virtualization softwares. What we have on our device is VMware. So I would click on download here. And when I download this should download the operating system for me, which is around 2.94 gigabytes. Okay. But as mentioned, I already have this file on my system. This is what the file looks like. The file, the Kali file, which is around 2.94 gigabytes. Okay. So if you have a tool like WinZip or something in your system, you can use that to extract the file. Okay. So I have an application called 7zip. I'll be showing how to install this in the detailed video, guys, which I'll be sharing with you. But basically, you just need to extract this file. And once it's extracted, you would have the operating system files available in a folder, and you just import them in VMware. So let's wait for a minute for these files to get extracted, since it's a zip file. After extraction, this might go up to 13 gigabytes or so, guys. So you need some good amount of storage on your system, at least 50 gigabytes of free storage for our entire course. And RAM, I would recommend at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. The more the better, but minimum requirement is 8 gigabytes. Okay. So I have the folder here. And when I open up that folder, there's multiple files here. And there's one unique looking file. That's the file for the VMware. Right click, open with VMware Workstation. And this now installs Kali inside VMware. With just one single click, you have the Kali imported here. And once it's imported, you have to configure the settings for it. Memory 2 GB. That's the RAM that you want to allocate. So 2 gigabytes is recommended. So we go for 2 gigabytes. Processors, every system only has one processor. So just select one processor here. Okay. And hard drive space, it takes up to maximum 80 gigabytes is what it says. But right now it's running on 13 gigabytes if you notice. So it won't exceed more than 15 for the entire duration of the course. So nothing to change here. Network adapter, here we put bridged mode. Bridged in the sense connected directly to your physical network, which means whatever IP you're getting from your Wi-Fi router, the Kali operating system also gets the same IP, a similar IP from the same Wi-Fi network. So your devices now can communicate with each other, the virtual machines and the base machines. Okay. So you just select bridged here. That's it. Memory 2 gigabytes, processor 1 processor, network adapter, bridged adapter. Okay. And when you click on power on, you would have the Kali pre-installed. Okay, so this is how you install the Kali operating system. But again, don't worry, as mentioned, I'm going to share a detailed video on the lab setup installation, which I took in the earlier sessions. Okay, to you again. Okay, this is a brief, quick rush up of what we took in the last session. Okay, exactly. Vamsi, Wahab, Gurpreet. Any questions, any doubts up to this point?
So we have to download this on our computer, right? Because I have a MacBook.
No, if you have a MacBook, Gurpreet,
Yes.
then the procedure would be different. So any one of you over here is working on this is the procedure for Windows, guys. Okay, so if you're owning a Windows operating system device, this is the procedure. If it's Mac, you have to install another software, Gurpreet. It's not VMware you go for. You go for something called VirtualBox. That's the one available for Mac. It's an open source application. Okay, but again, it's a bit slow. It's a bit again, since it's open source, it's not that easy to use. Okay. So again, I'm going to share a video to you, Gurpreet, from YouTube on how to install VirtualBox on a Mac operating system and install Kali in it. So you would have to follow a different procedure. Anyone else here who's working on a Mac? Wahab, Vamsi,
Sorry?
are you working on Windows itself, right? Okay. Okay, right. But again, Gurpreet, I'm going to share a different recording to you, a different YouTube video to you to install Kali on a Mac operating system device. So you would have to go for VirtualBox rather than VMware. The VMware file that I'll be sharing is compatible only for Windows operating system devices. So that's an important point to note. But no worries. Again, please drop in your emails, guys. I'll share the required documents, and the required recordings, and the required files. Okay, for the lab setup installation. And as mentioned, guys, we'll be having one more session tonight itself. Okay, in your time, in your different time zone, it might be tonight. For me, it's in 1.5 hours. So it's 6:40 for me right now. At 8 a.m., we'll be having one more session where we go with the introduction to Kali Linux. Okay, so please do join that session. Wahab, Gurpreet, and Wamsi. Okay, so if you're in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, EST, that would be your time of, so right now for me it's 6:42 or something, or 6:38, it's your 9 p.m. So if it's 8 a.m., that should be your 10:30 if you're in Eastern Time Zone. Okay, so yeah, that's an important point to note, guys. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Good.
I'm in Dallas, Texas. So right now it's actually 8:10 almost p.m.
Which time zone is that again? Gurpreet.
I believe Eastern.
Yeah, again, same. If it's 8:10, yeah, that's what you would be joining. Oh, it's 9:10 actually in Eastern.
Wait,
So if it's 8:10,
9:10? No, mine is 8:10.
no, you're 1 hour behind. So if it's 8:10 right now, you would have to join in 1.5 hours, right? So that would be your 9:30 rather than 10:30.
10. You said after, yeah, because it's 8:10, so it should be like what, 9 something, 9:10.